Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome to Positive Talk, everybody. This is a great day to have a show, and of course I have a lot of great days because I do a lot of shows. But we've got a wonderful guest, and he actually is becoming part of our team in a really cool way. He's got a company that he works with, which is called Real Momentum, and you may have seen the commercial that we run, and it really is fun because he talks about your white wolf and feeding your white wolf and taking positive steps and stuff. And he's a real positive guy. And I'm really glad that he is here today. Now, I'm going to have you tell everybody your name so that I don't screw it up.
Sure. My name's Ophir Adar. It's like fear with an O in front of it. Ophir.
Oh, perfect. Ophir Adar, and he has a company called Real Momentum.
I have a company called Real Momentum, and we coach entrepreneurs, salespeople, and especially real estate agents. And we fit so well with you guys, right?
Yes, we're doing awesomely with you guys. We just love the commercial that we did that we're going to play in a little bit, and also all the things that you do. You are very down-to-earth spiritual man who is interested in helping humanity do just a myriad of things. Is that close?
Yeah, listen, you hype me up big time. I love it. You know, I like to keep it simple, like you, Kevin, right? So Positive Talk Radio is about as simple and straightforward as you can get, right?
Yep.
Because nobody wants to listen to negative talk radio.
No, well, you can go anywhere.
They do listen to it all the time, right? But nobody wants to listen to a show called Negative Talk Radio. And that's the whole important thing, is that we need to be feeding ourselves positive things on a regular basis in order to shift our mindset and shift the way we see things.
That's exactly right. And feeding your white wolf, I would love for you to tell that story. Absolutely. At one point, because there are lots of folks who have no idea what exactly that means yet.
Absolutely. I'll share that story. And it's straight from my history when I was 9 years old. You know, when I was 9 years old, my parents decided to send me to survival camp in Canada. And it was a brilliant idea. They actually had to sign a waiver in case I died.
Oh, good.
And I still laugh to this day. I call my mom up. I'm like, you remember that? And she's like, oh, yeah, that was hilarious.
So, you know, to have a mother of a 9-year-old or a dad of a 9-year-old and they give you a piece of paper that says you have to sign this waiver in case, you know, he drowns or dies in some manner or form. It's like,
yeah.
What are the odds?
Just sign it, right? Well, you know, I mean, they grew up in Israel, right, in a very different time frame and a very different mentality. And so, you know, for them, it wasn't this absurd like proposal, right? And so they signed it, and I jumped on a plane and went to survival camp in Canada. And as a 9-year-old flying into Ontario, Canada on a seaplane, because that's the only way you could reach it, you see ice on the water in June. And as soon as we land, they take us and they grab us and they paddle out in the canoes half a mile, and they dump us in the water and say, swim back to shore. And so that was the beginning of my journey. And then I was there for a month. And at the end of the camp, they brought in a tribal leader, because in Ontario, Canada, it's surrounded by tribes. And they brought in a tribal leader, and he came in to speak to us. And we were there standing around a fire at night, all these 13 boys standing there in their underwear around a fire, and we were there to earn our eagle feather, right? Because that's what you get when you survive. You get an eagle feather. And he started to tell this story, and he talked about how he had a fight going on inside him, and one side was the dark wolf, and the dark wolf was full of ego and envy and scarcity, and the white wolf was full of love and abundance and collaboration. And so we were all standing there and it was dead silent. And I said, which one wins? And he said, the one you feed. And that was where I learned about feeding your white wolf. And I forgot about it for most of my life until I got into real estate at 30 years old in Los Angeles on the Sunset Strip. And that's when I realized that all I had done for most of my life was feed my dark wolf. And because of that, I wasn't able to see opportunities, to see a clear path for me to create success for myself, because all I saw was dark wolf stuff.
Isn't that all that happened when you were like 10, and that left an imprint on you for the next 20 years, and then you recalled it and then were able to utilize it and to discover what it really meant in dealing with life.
That's when I discovered it. I was door knocking on the Sunset Strip and somebody had yelled at me, and I sheepishly got back into my car and I broke down and started crying. And I just was so taken aback of like why it was affecting me so much, right? What's the problem? Who cares, right? It's one person. It's not like the end of the world, but it was everything to me. And that's when I realized it's like, well, where's my mind at, right? Where's my mindset at? And I realized I didn't believe that anybody would want to work with me. I didn't believe that people should want to list their property with me. So why would they ever believe that? So that's where I really realized I had to do something to shift my mindset before I did anything else. Because even if you go into a program or coaching or anything that you are doing that's trying to move you down the right path, if your mind is focused on negative things, you're not going to see those opportunities. You're going to see why it won't work, not why it will work.
And I'm going to suggest to everybody who's listening to this, yes, Ophir is in real estate, but the concepts that he talks about and the coaching that he does translates into any field at all, be it sales, be it management, being just the best employee that you can be, being the best husband that you can be, or the wife.
I was just about to say that. Thank you. It's listen, it's not like one area of your life doesn't bleed into another, right? It's for any area of your life. And Kevin, the beautiful thing is we just finished the workbook, which is chock full of exercises to help you get to where you want to go. Because I wrote a book, which is about my story and a little bit about some of the spiritual lessons that I learned from my experiences in real estate in Los Angeles. And at the same time, that's wonderful and great. It's like, well, how do I get there, right? And we have a workbook that's attached with exercises that will absolutely help you get there in any area of your life.
Because you sometimes, well, more times than not, you need help from somebody who's been there, done that, who can then turn around and to provide you with exercises that he's already done that are part of how he got to be where he is now. And by the way, he's done very well in the real estate business, and he's now giving back by helping others, by coaching them and doing, because Ophir, the thing is, you cannot live your best life unless you feed your white wolf and make the dark wolf a lot smaller through starvation and not feeding it, because you're that dark wolf is always going to be there. But haven't you found, and I'd love your opinion on this, haven't you found that when you started feeding your white wolf, that became stronger and more prominent, and the dark wolf started to shrink away because it was being dominated by the goodness and the white wolf and love and kindness and all of that?
Absolutely. Kevin, you got to start with this first and foremost. Everybody around you is going to feed your dark wolf. Everybody in the world is going to feed your dark wolf. You don't have to feed it. You don't have to worry about it.
Well, and if you're like in my case, it's like, oh, but I don't want you to be disappointed. So I'm going to tell you to be safe, and you, oh no, you can't
those
do
are my favorite people in the world are the realists, right? Oh, I'm just a realist. I'm not, yeah, I'm just a realist. I'm like, oh, really? You're just a realist? Listen, Kevin, in any situation in life, you can look at it glass half full or glass half empty, no matter what, right? It's that simple. It's a choice that you're making. And if you're choosing to look at it half empty, it's because you have too much negativity in your mind, right? That's the problem. And so it's so important to be continually doing exercises to feed the white wolf, which is, what I started to do as I wanted to transform my business: affirmations, meditations, reading things that would inspire me. And I give people all of these things, including a book list of what books that inspired me the most. And slowly but surely, your mindset starts to shift. Most people in the coaching program, within a month, their mindset shifts. But when they come in, the first month is all about me smashing their limiting beliefs. They don't even realize how many limiting beliefs that they have.
Oh, they're pervasive. They're everywhere.
They destroyed me, Kevin. My limiting beliefs were literally destroying me. And when you have that going on, that's when you feel unhappy, right? You feel like there's something missing, and there's something that, I should be able, I want to be able to achieve so much more and help a lot of people, and I'm not able to do it. So what is stopping me? And the only thing stopping you in real estate is self-sabotage. That's it. Because you have the opportunity to talk to so many people, especially homeowners. They're all around you, right? And yet we are sabotaging ourselves, going, they don't want to talk to me, so why would I want to talk to them?
It's interesting that you say that because and I'll take this back years ago. I got involved with a network marketing company called Isogenics. Yeah. And there were 5 of us, and you lose weight with Isogenics and that kind of stuff. And so we had a coach. He was in Vegas, and we would do a conference call once a week. And he would tell us, okay, you need to do this, and I want you to do that. And then you go out and do this. And there were the 5 of us. There were 4 women and me. And we all would come to him the next week and say, oh, Kirk, this is hard. I don't think I can do this. Is really hard. And he'd say, you need to get a different mindset, because you can make it work. You can, I can help you, and we can do this together, and you could be rich and stuff. Well, this went on for like a month. And then one of the gals came back. Her name is Nicole. And she came back and she said, meeting, Kirk, I've learned this is easy. And we all looked at her and, through the phone, actually. And we're like, it's easy. This is hard. This is horribly hard. She said, no, this is easy. You can do this. You need to change your mindset, and then it becomes easy and you can do it. Well, over time, the 4 of us that this was hard ended up dropping out of the company because it was too hard. Right. She's now a multimillionaire.
Yeah. And that's what happens in real estate, Kevin. It's in any sales. It's the same thing, right? It's that this is hard and it's not working. And why would I want? So all of the things that you're thinking about are preventing you from doing it, not getting you to do it. They're preventing you from doing it because you're already looking at the failure and the attachment to all of the negativity, right?
Oh, I just had a thought. Tell me if this is true. Yeah. And then also you've got wives or husbands and fellow people that you're going to a party, and you're bringing your business cards and you're hopped up and you're all ready to go. And they say to you, could you please just have a social evening and not talk about real estate and not do that because it's embarrassing and stuff. So you get it in your mind. It's embarrassing to talk about real estate rather than, but there could have been somebody at that party that was like, dang, I wish I could find a real estate agent that I really like. That was, and
all day long. Those are what all those people are thinking, right?
Everybody, and it's all based on the relationship and how you talk to them and all of that. And everybody is looking for, and even if they don't need somebody today, they go, my brother-in-law is really looking for a really quality real estate guy. And you seem like a nice guy, are you? And then you have a conversation with that guy, and then he introduces you to his brother-in-law, and off and away you go.
Yeah, and Kevin, it's really interesting that you're focusing on that, because there are so many people out there that don't have a real estate agent, especially sellers, right? We call them orphans. So what is an orphan? An orphan is when a buyer's agent sells somebody a home and never stays in touch with them. Now they've become a potential seller, right? So all these people are orphaned. So my agents just go out and are talking to them and having real conversations. For example, like, where's the market headed? I hope people know there's a huge uptick of inventory right now. We've literally doubled the inventory in the past month. So we're shifting into a buyer's market, right?
Yeah.
And when you actually can speak to people and have real conversations with them and build trust and rapport, then they want to work with you. And at the same time, Kevin, they got to realize that real estate agents have such a bad reputation. And this is why, because they're not being taught at the beginning of their career how to approach people, how to talk to people, just go get business. And so these new people don't know how to do it. They're out there just harassing people unintentionally, right? And so it gives real estate agents a bad name. And then it's even more of a hit of oh, I don't even want to talk about real estate. People have bad reputation for real estate agents. And me, I'm like, listen, real estate agents have so much value when you do your job well, so much value in helping people and being able to help them create wealth for themselves, using real estate as an investment vehicle and creating clients for life when you do it the right way.
And speaking of which, I know a guy, and he does it the right way. And he is actually a sponsor of this fine program now. And I'm going to play his commercial so that everybody can kind of get an idea about who he is and what he does and how it all works.
You became a real estate agent for freedom, success, and real momentum. So why are you still stuck waiting for closings to save you? I'm Ophir Adar, founder of Real Momentum, and I help agents like you become seven-figure earners. My first client that I coached, brand new agent, made $250,000 back in 2006. What's the secret? You feed your white wolf. That's the part of you that's bold and unstoppable and a closer and able to build rapport quickly. So click Get Listings at Real Momentum and let's unleash your real estate potential.
And welcome back to Positive Talk. That guy that we just played, he looks remarkably like you. Did you know that?
I like what he was saying. He was really interesting.
I do too. I like the way he looked and the way he was saying it, and it's vital that people understand that change is internal, and you can make any change that you wish to do if you understand and choose it, and not listen to other people that say no. There are a billion real estate guys out there. It's hard to make a living doing that, and so you listen to that, and so you stop, or you don't follow your best instincts. And sometimes you need a coach, you need somebody to help you, and that is what Real Momentum does for people. And now you've got a workbook out.
Yes, we are launching our book, my book, called Feed Your White Wolf, and our workbook. We were going to launch it this Saturday, June 14th. Unfortunately, with a lot of the hubbub, what do you call it? Hubbub that we're having hubbub, thank you, that we're having in downtown Los Angeles, we pushed it to July 12th. So the book and the workbook are going to be released July 12th. Anyone who purchases it and writes a review and sends us a picture of the book review, we will send them a free copy of the workbook, which is phenomenal. It's 200 pages, and it is chock full of exercises to get you to start thinking differently and seeing things differently.
And by the way, you're in downtown LA.
We are in downtown LA. Yes.
Then why aren't you burned to the ground?
You know, I love downtown Los Angeles. I grew up in New York, so it's
Oh,
just
so that's like it fits you like a glove.
right. It fits me like a glove, and I love being part of the evolution of downtown. Unfortunately, we have some things that give downtown a bad name, and at the same time, downtown is a phenomenal area, and we're going to have our book launch on July 12th in downtown at our office, and we're inviting everybody that's in Los Angeles. We're going to invite you to come and join us for the book launch.
That would be, if I can do it, that would be great fun. That would be great fun.
Well,
And
you're getting a signed copy of the book, that's for sure.
well, I appreciate that, young man, because I can reference that book all the time. But right now, I'm still a little broken. So as soon as I get
Oh,
unbroken,
oh yeah.
um, yeah. So I broke my wrist. So,
I
but
hope
anyway,
I hope you have a good story for it.
sadly, no.
Oh,
Sadly, no. I'll have to create one. See, I was
yes.
playing baseball with these. No, I fell down. And stuff. So, but in any event, so on July 12th now.
July 12th, we are going to have our book launch at my office in downtown, and it has a beautiful rooftop deck as well. And we're going to have somebody come in and speak about what's happening in downtown, real estate wise, why it's a great area to invest in. And that's going to be from 4 to 7 on July 12th.
Congratulations. That's awesome. And I understand there's also going to be some hors d'oeuvres there, and
Hors
there's going to be
d'oeuvres and
some.
alcohol.
Oh, I'm in.
Absolutely. Listen, if you want to get real estate agents to an event, alcohol and food.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Now you've also got a little and do you want to do it now or later? But
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Let's do it now.
slideshow.
I'll
Okay.
just do
Yeah.
quick.
So I'm going to leave it to you, and I'm going to do this, and there you are.
Fantastic. Okay. So present.
I think you can just if you should be able to go slide by slide.
Let me go right now. Okay, here we go. Does that work?
Yep.
So here is the book launch. Here is my book, Feed Your White Wolf.
I love that picture, by the way.
Thank you so much. Are you talking about me or the wolf?
The wolf.
I'm just kidding. So if you scan the RSVP, we have the event on Eventbrite, and all you have to do is register. We're going to give away copies of the book. We're going to give away a lot of different things, and that's on July 12th from 4 to 7. And also, this is the QR code to purchase the book. And that will be available on July 12th. And anybody who purchases the book and then sends us a copy of a review they wrote will get the workbook for free, which is phenomenal. I'm so excited about this workbook. Now, this is for anybody that wants to join our community. I share a ton of great stuff. We have a free community on School. And this is where I share vlogs every single day. I share articles about where the market's going. And we have an amazing community of real estate agents that share different stories about what's going on in their marketplace, success stories, articles. And we have different free resources available for anybody that wants free real estate resources. And we have a lot of different videos available for trainings that we do. So if you are in real estate, this is a great opportunity to join. This is our social media. I'm always sharing stuff on there as well. If anybody wants to join us on social media, I'm always sharing great mindset tips and real estate tips as well. And then this is the book launch, but I already shared that. And this is going to be our book launch in downtown. And then this is me on the Sunset Strip. Remember we were just talking about this?
Yeah.
This was me literally sitting in my car on the Sunset Strip going, what the heck, man? Why am I unable to do this, right? And
You look so sad.
I was sad and I was so frustrated. And I just wanted to be able to help people and support people, which is why I got into real estate. And so I didn't understand what was holding me back. But when I started to study neurolinguistic programming, that's when I started to understand how the unconscious mind works, right? So
Yeah.
we have external events, and here's where we delete and distort them. So how do we delete and distort them? Through our eyes, through our filter. Everybody has a unique filter based on their experiences in life, right? So you're going to delete and distort things based on that filter. So for example, in real estate, it's buyers are liars. It's a tough market. Sales is uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Now we have 2 million bits of information that come at us at all times. And we only process 126 bits out of those 2 million bits. So what are the 126 bits that you're processing? It's whatever your unconscious mind is focused on, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in a negative space, then your unconscious mind is going to look for all of the negativity, right? So for example, Kevin, if somebody says to me, it's the reason my business isn't doing well is because it's a tough real estate market. Well, those two things don't equate, right? Just because it's a tough real estate market, there's more business than any one real estate agent could ever know what to do with, right?
Right.
That's just reality. So yes, you can succeed in a difficult market. In fact, it's easier to succeed when the market shifts. I think now we're moving into the time that's going to be the best time to be a real estate agent because you'll be able to take over a lot of market share. But if you are focused on negative things, then that's all you're going to process, right?
Yep.
All you're going to see are the reasons why it won't work versus the reasons why it will work.
Which, by the way, we spend a great deal of our time talking about why it won't work, rather than why it will work.
Absolutely. So many people want to argue with me and convince me that things won't work, and I'm like, wait a minute, it already worked for me. Why are you trying to convince me now that it won't work?
And then tell me if this is what happens. And then they say, yeah, but that's because that's you and you're gifted and you were destined for this and all of this. And then when you go back through your history and you go, no, that's not really exactly true. I had to learn like everybody else, but I had no teacher, I had no coach, I had nowhere to go, and now you do.
Kevin, I'm so happy that you brought that up. It's such an important piece, right? It's everything. It's
Yeah.
how are you learning what you need to do? And the answer is they're not being taught all of the things they need to do, and neither was I until I got into coaching. Until I got into a coaching program that started to have me see things differently. And that's when I went from almost leaving the business, which is where I was after a year and a half, to being the number one listing agent for all of Keller Williams in California 2 years later. And it was simply by understanding certain things, like, for example, how we communicate, guys, right? How do we communicate? Well, people think that words are the most important thing, that the words are really important. That's for sure. And most of our communication comes from tonality and physiology, right? So it's not even the words that you're using that are going to affect the people that you're communicating with. It's your tonality and your physiology. And so
I just wanted to point this out because what they, and I heard this on the show. I learned so much on Positive Talk. Anyway, I heard this just the other day that 90% of our communication is nonverbal.
Right. It's right there. It's 93%.
Oh, see, I got it right.
Yeah. 93% is nonverbal. That's the whole point, right? So, for example, Kevin, so your physiology is affecting everything that you're doing. And that's why it's important to be focused on doing all these things at once, right?
Yep.
Not just one part, but being able to focus on all the parts. And I'll show you in a second, right? So this is where I was lost, not sure what to do, trying to figure things out. And then this is our coaching program. So the point is, it doesn't just come from changing your mindset, right? It doesn't just come from doing role play and getting better at your conversation. It doesn't just come from learning real estate skills. It comes from doing all these things together, right? That's why we call our company Real Momentum, because real momentum comes when you're doing all these things together. So we have daily role play sessions. We have real estate training once a week. We have mindset training once a week. We have a weekly accountability group where you're only in a group with 9 other people and me, where we set goals every single week. And then every week we review your goals. Where were you on? Where were you off? And we set new goals for the following week. We have our self-directed courses where you're going to learn listing presentation, buyer consultation, all the important skill sets for real estate. We have a real estate article we break down for you every month to share with your newsletter. And then we have our community access, our customized meditation, and our business planning weekly, which is our accountability group. So when you combine all these things, and now we can stop sharing. When you combine all these things together, that's when you get into real momentum. That's why we have a 6-month program that's designed to get people to become listing agents within 6 months.
To go from, as they say, from 0 to 60 in 6 months or less, depending upon. Now, how much of this, I know that it's how much is this dependent upon the mindset of the individual going into it? If they believe they can, they can. If they don't believe that they can you take somebody who doesn't believe in it? Can you help them?
It's whether, listen, that's one of my favorite quotes, right? By Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Yeah, that's exactly what it comes down to. And Kevin, I have zero expectation that anybody comes in there thinking that they can. I didn't come into coaching thinking that I could. That's what I learned in coaching. That's what I learned from doing role play. That's what I learned from talking to sellers, doing all those things together, right? That's when I got into real momentum and started to get appointments regularly, then started to get listings regularly. Because I was doing all these things together.
No, exactly. Exactly.
That's the focus, is to make sure that you're doing all these things together, because if you're just doing skill set things and your mindset's still in a negative place, then you're not going to see that it will work. If you're just doing mindset things, but you're not working on your skill set, then great. You may be confident, but you don't know what you're talking about, right?
Exactly. And by the way, when we come back from this break, I want to talk about one of my favorite things, which is NLP, and how that helped you and how it changes your mindset and allows you to do different stuff. We're talking with Ophir Adar, and he is with Real Momentum, and he's a coach, and he helps you reach your potential. Because I can tell you, as a real estate agent, if you can make a lot of money, but
a lot of money.
But there's a whole lot of things that go into it. And I love the concept about you working with 9 other coaches or 9 other people in the accountability group, because you might not want to do it for yourself. You might want to not want to do it for your wife or your kids, but there's a group of 9 guys that you do not want to let down. So we'll return in just a second. Stay with us, everybody.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer. at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. And I've got, if you are a real estate agent, if you're a sales guy, if you're a sales manager, let me put it that way too, you need to, or you know somebody who is, you need to call them and you need to tell them, hey, you need to listen to this show. It's going to be on the Brushwood Media Network. It's going to be in the archives. It's on positivetalkradio.net. It's on over 200 podcast sites. Just go to Positive Talk Radio. It's on YouTube. It's virtually everywhere. But this is such important information that you need to, that if you choose to, you don't need to do anything. But if you choose to be a really good real estate agent and learn all about the ins and outs of it and taking care of people and staging and everything that you need to do, you need to go, you need to talk to Ophir Adar and Real Momentum, and you can learn a ton of stuff, I got to tell you. And it's great fun to have you here, young man.
You know, I just want to say, you said right before the break something beautiful about, you know, being part of a group and an energy, right? Of having a accountability group where you feel accountable to those people. But it's so much more than that, because they're not just accountable to each other, they're supporting each other, right? And this community that I built is based off of what I did in my offices when I became a manager and took over different offices for Keller Williams, for Coldwell Banker, and for Compass. It's creating an environment that supports what they're doing, right? That supports them talking to people, generating leads, being consistent with staying in touch with their sphere. And the ones that do that are guaranteed success, because there's about 3% that are doing that regularly. So anybody that stays in touch regularly is going to be successful.
I got to ask you, why is that so rare? Is it because of the competition between agents and for listings? And I'm not going to tell him anything because he might. And, you know, I was talking to a friend who is trying to become a real estate agent. Yes. And they basically had him pass his real estate exam. And they said, well, we'll bring you in-house to where we are. And he said, okay, now what? And they said, well, patted him on the fanny and said, go get him, kid. But nobody wants to share some of these things with them because they might steal from them. They might steal their leads.
Oh, absolutely. Nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to share that with them. That's a successful listing agent. I talk about that all the time, right? Because they don't want you to know the secrets out there, which is what? The secret is that 80% of these homeowners are orphans. They're waiting for somebody to talk to them and become their real estate agent. They're waiting for those people. But Kevin, it's not easy to be consistent. It's the consistency and the commitment. And it's so hard to be self-accountable, right? And committed to yourself. It's so much easier to be accountable to an outside source. And so that's what I learned for myself. You know, when I started, I wanted to be self-accountable, but I couldn't, right? And so that's when I got into coaching and I had outside accountability, and I was accountable and I did all the things I needed to do. And over 25 years, I realized that the ones that do that, the ones that can get themselves to be committed and consistent, are always going to be successful. But if you're looking at it the wrong way, you're going to not want to do it ever.
And I will tell you, it is not just in that business. This translates into any business. And even in like the restaurant business and stuff like that, if you can build a camaraderie and a team that everybody understands that the better we do together, the more money that we'll make together. And that applies to waitresses and cooks and bartenders and even dishwashers. That if you build a team atmosphere that everybody's looking out after everybody and the business is important to them because that's how they make their living, you'll find that people will go above and beyond. And in real estate, especially, and in sales, because I was also a sales manager for a long time, sales guys, it's a peculiar job. It really is, because you're expected to go out there and to be shiny faced all the time, and to be up and to find people and stuff. And there are many times you just don't feel like it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why you got to continually feed your white wolf. Literally. Yeah, of course. Otherwise, you will slip. Listen, it's so easy to slip back into that mentality, or postpone it or push it to tomorrow, right? Those are the things that we tend to do generally. And as long as we have a framework for being accountable and reporting our numbers every day and making sure that we're hitting them, then it's so easy to do, right? Because our goal is only 5 new contacts a day. 5 new contacts a day will equal 250,000 or more a year. Easy.
Wow, 5 contacts. I
That's
see.
it.
Yeah, and you're breaking it down so that rather than, oh man, this is hard. It's like, I can do 5 contacts a day. I know I can do that. That's easy.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
That's easy.
Or looking at a business plan, I got to do 5,000 contacts. Oh my God, 5,000. How am I going to do that this year? But if it's like, oh, I got to do 25 contacts this week. And by the way, it doesn't have to be every day. You can make 25 contacts door knocking in 2 days or 3 days, right? There's all different ways of making 25 contacts, but the goal is seller contacts, right? Because you're building a pipeline of sellers that you're then going to check in with every 90 days.
And then what happens is that because you said there are so many orphans out there, which are homeowners that bought a house and their real estate agent went away. I bought, I think, was it 3 or 4 houses in my life, and there's only one real estate agent who ever followed up after the sale was complete to say, how you doing? How do you like the house? How are things? And he even gave me the name of somebody to build the fence for us and do stuff like that, because he's plugged into the marketplace. And then he would say, do you know anybody? And I said, well, my neighbor just is trying to put their house up for sale. Why don't you go talk to them, and I'll let them know that you're coming. And I think he became their listing agent as well.
It's that easy. It's not rocket science, right?
But it does take commitment to follow through, and these people become your friends. That's what's fun.
Oh my God! First of all, that's 1,000,000% true. And I have met so many interesting people, so many amazing people and stories just from lead generating. Like, I have made the most amazing connections in the world. And people who are successful, they usually appreciate lead generators, right? Because they know that they're being proactive and they want to support that, because usually business people are proactive people, right?
Yep. Well, if you're a business person and you're not proactive, you're not in business.
That's the way it is, right?
Yeah, and
so
you
they
got to keep on.
appreciate it.
Yep. So let's talk. When did you discover NLP?
I discovered NLP when I got into coaching in 2000. So I started real estate 2002. I got into coaching for myself in 2004. And that's when I learned NLP for the sake of mirroring and matching and repeating and affirming, which is one of the most powerful tools and the simplest tools to execute in the world.
Well, but I'm curious to know, Ophir, why, because you became a real estate agent and you began to have some success, but you were looking for something different, and then you ran into somebody who knew NLP, I'm
sorry. When I got into my coaching program, they talked about NLP because they were talking about building relationships quickly. You got to build trust very quickly. And how do you do that in real estate, right? And so that's where I learned about NLP. And then I only delved deeper into it 10 years ago when I became a master practitioner and then a trainer for neurolinguistic programming. And so that's when I really learned about all of the techniques that you can use to shift your patterns that are created early on in our life, right? We think we're stuck with these patterns. And you said it earlier, Kevin, transformation is easy when you are self-aware and doing the right things, right? but we're so stuck in like, this is who we are and we can't change, which is not true, right? But we're
Right.
so stuck in that we're not willing to do the things that will allow us to transform and see things differently.
Well, some of that sounds suspiciously like that voice in your head coming from your mother. But because, because all she wants to do is protect you, and then there's flight or fight, and all that
Fight
kind of
or
stuff.
play, yeah.
Yeah, that affects that. We need to take a real quick break. When we come back, I would love for you, because there are people in our audience going, NL what? I have no idea what
Yes.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to lay it out for us. And we will be right back with Ophir Adar, and Real Momentum is his coaching company, and he can help you. I promise he can.
When the game is on the line, championship teams know the game plan. They communicate and work together to win. We all need a game plan to protect ourselves online. Talk to family and friends so they know how to stay safe too. Create strong passwords, turn on multi-factor authentication, update software, and recognize and report phishing, because online safety is not something you want to fumble. Get more game-winning tips at CISA.gov/secure our world. Then share them with family and friends.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Ophir Adar is with us today. He is the owner, the head bottle washer, and the chief brain architect behind Real Momentum. It is a major coaching company specifically designed for real estate agents. But I wish I had this when I was a sales manager and had other sales managers working for me. I would send them to you, because there's so much. Most of the time when you become a supervisor, like in sales, it's because you were a great salesman. It does not make you a great leader. It does not make you a great manager. So those are skills that need to be learned, and you can help with all of that. Now, NLP, describe for us what NLP is and what do it do?
But it's so funny because you just talked about before the break about the voice of your mother in your head trying to protect you, right?
Yep.
And that's the role of our unconscious mind. The role of our unconscious mind is to protect us, right? So if there's something that's causing you pain, and I'll give you an example, right? If I door knock somebody and they start cursing me out, my unconscious mind sees that as pain and wants to protect me against it. So it's going to create a story for me to avoid doing that again. It's going to create a reason for me not to do that again. And so neurolinguistic programming is about our mind-body connection and how we can affect the patterns that were created. All of our patterns are created early in our childhood. So it allows you to be able to look at the patterns, see the ones that aren't supporting your goals, and change those patterns simply and easily, and start focusing on the things that will support your goals.
Gotcha.
And that's where neurolinguistic comes into play. It's about how to affect the mind-body connection. And there's a lot of different ways. There's techniques we can use it. Languaging can affect the mind-body connection. Hypnosis is a part of NLP. So there's a lot of different techniques and ways that we can affect the mind-body connection.
But it's all about change, because if you change your mind, you can change everything. If you
change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change.
Ooh, that's very good. Say that again.
Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. And that was the shift that happened in me. I saw all of these things I was doing as smarmy salesperson things. And when I started to connect with people and see that they really needed help, and I could support them if I, was there to talk to them about their real estate need, then I started to get a tremendous amount of business from it, and saw that it absolutely works, and it works really, really well.
But that was the fundamental shift that you made. The fundamental shift that you made was, I'm not bothering people. There are people who need my services, and so I can be of service to them. And if you don't happen to need what my services, that's fine. Maybe you have a friend who does.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
So,
That's it.
so that's
And
the fundamental.
resiliency. Yeah, resiliency is Barbara. I love Barbara Corcoran, right? She's an amazing leader in real estate. She created the Corcoran Group. She says the difference between her $8 million producer and her $64,000 producer is resilience. The $8 million producer gets up every time they get knocked down, right?
Yep.
If you don't have a white wolf mindset, you're not going to keep getting up when you get knocked down.
No, because you're feeding the wrong wolf, and so you're
perpetuating.
When that guy comes to you and comes to the door and he's in his bathrobe and he looks like you just woke him up and he's like, "What the hell are you doing at my front door?" And so you're going to say, well, the next guy is going to do the same dang thing. And so you stop doing it. And then nothing works.
Yeah. And by the way, Kevin, it's so beautiful you said that, because the basis of success in real estate is 1 out of 100, and you'll be really successful.
Isn't that interesting? If you have the mindset that now I know guys that have this mindset. If like when somebody says no, it's like, that's great. I'm closer to somebody saying yes now.
Every time somebody hung up a phone on me, I made $300.
How'd you do that?
Well, if you make $30,000 for a commission and it takes 100 phone calls to get one commission, then every time somebody hangs up on me, I make $300. Is that a different mindset? Is that a different way of looking at it?
That is superior. That's the way to look at it. And by the way, Feed Your White Wolf is now a book, and it's also a workbook. And there is a event happening on July 12th. And tell us about that, Ophir, and people can go to it.
July 12th, we're doing our book launch in downtown Los Angeles. I shared earlier the QR code if you wanted to join us. It's going to be July 12th, Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. We're going to have drinks and hors d'oeuvres, and we're going to have a speaker talk about downtown. And we have a rooftop deck, and it's going to be just a bunch of great people with great mindsets networking together. And
you are going to speak there too, because you're one of those great people,
yes.
Right?
Absolutely. I'm going to be talking about the book and the inspiration. And, I talk about my journey from, being an addict for 25 years to shifting my mindset and changing the way I look at things and creating success for myself, which I now help a lot of other people do as well.
You weren't an addict for 25 years. That means you started when you were what, 5?
Yeah. I will be, actually, I'll be 55 right at July 16th, right around the launch of the book.
Well, congratulations. And I'm so glad. See, I would like to share this with people. If you are right now having trouble with substance abuse of any kind, really, and you have nowhere to turn, call 988. That can help. And they can turn you to the right people. 988, that's a national hotline. Because I want to share with you, Ophir, that you are an important human being on the planet. The things that you do, the things that you talk about, the people that you've helped, and if you weren't able to make that switch and to turn it off to become the man you are today, think about how many people would not be helped, because you've helped so many. So
my mantra is, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because if you saw me when I started, I couldn't walk and talk and chew gum at the same time.
Wow. You can now.
With great practice, yes.
But the cool thing is you've developed the program, you've developed a team, you've got these groups that you offer, that they can, if nothing else, they can sit around and talk of new strategies. When the 9 of them get together with you, you can talk new strategies and ways of doing stuff. I'm willing to bet that there are people that leave those meetings and are ready to knock down a wall because they now think they can or know that they can.
It's by the way, it's a money back guarantee. No, there's not one person who goes through this program and doesn't succeed and become a top listing agent. It's a money back guarantee. You show up for 6 months, you're going to be a very successful agent.
That's a powerful statement right there. It's a money back guarantee. So it's not a matter of you making money from them and saying, pat them on the fanny and say, go, good luck. You're vested in their success as well.
I am absolutely 100% invested in their success.
That is really cool. And we've just got a couple of minutes left, young man. I want to make sure I give you lots of time to tell our audience anything that you would like them to know about you, about your company, about the White Wolf, about anything that feels right to you.
You know, you just spoke about something earlier, which I wanted to just address, which is, you know, there's a lot of real estate companies, there's a lot of real estate offices that are struggling right now and not sure how to pivot and, you know, create success for themselves. And I am absolutely open to talking to any of the leaders that want to change the energy in their office, because that's how I built successful offices. And it's really important to be able to support the agents in what we call lead generation energy, right? You want to create that type of energy for your office because that's how agents succeed. And so for anybody that's a leadership as well, if they're having trouble, then reach out and schedule a one-on-one with me, and I can talk to you about how you create a different energy in your office to support your agent's success, because that's how you succeed.
And how do they reach you, young man?
They can reach me at my first name, Ophir, Ophir, at realmomentum.com. And anybody can go directly to realmomentum.com. And there's a place where you can schedule a consult, with a 30-minute consult with me for free. It's free. And I love talking to people about real estate, and I love supporting owners and offices in supporting their agents.
You know, I want to thank you for, number one, coming and talking to us today. But the other thing that just dawned on me is that you were the manager of an office, and so you changed the attitudes and the atmosphere in the office from one of, oh crap, I can't do it, to one of, oh yes, we can. But I want people to think about, especially managers, to think about the fact that not only did they change agents' lives, they changed families' lives, because that person goes and no longer has to kick the dog because he had a horrible day trying to get leads, and they become successful and they make more money, and then that solves a lot of ills for the family, for the kids, and then they learn these mindsets and these different ways of being. It can be generational change, young man.
Generational change, because you're learning how to flip property, how to invest. You're learning all of these things, and then you have the money to do it when you're successful. When you're not successful, you can help other people, but you can't do it yourself, right? And so we want to support that. And Kevin, I was a specialist. I took over offices that were going to close, and in a year and a half, I made them top 10 in the country. That's the energy shift, right? And it's not me. It's just this incubator of success that we create in the office.
And people want to go to work in places like that.
Then it attracts all the other agents. You don't even have to recruit, right?
Exactly. And also your turnover of agents goes down, and everything, the support people that are there are happier because they're busier and they've got so it's just a really, really positive thing for everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you are in the California area, and I would say the California area, it's not that well. Okay, California's a big state, but if you July 12th, and go to downtown Los Angeles, go to Real Momentum, get all the information that you need, realmomentum.com, and then go there and celebrate the book and the workbook and everything with Ophir or Fear, because he deserves it.
And if you can't make it, then you buy the book on July 12th and send us a review, and we will send you the workbook for free.
That is just awesome, young man. And you're going to have to come back before then so that we can preview it again. Would you do that?
Kevin, I love spending time with you. You know that.
I know, and you're such a good dude, I got to tell you. So I want to thank everybody for being here, and go to realmomentum.com to find out everything that you need to know, and thank you, Ophir, for being here.
And thank you for everything you do, Kevin.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got.